Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Keri Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. I'm starting to feel a little bit like my age, the more advanced technology I seem to incorporate into my life. Can anyone else relate? I'm going to be 39 this year, and historically, my sister and I have completely made fun of my mom, whose name is Gail, and we always joke, you're pulling a Gail when you have a hard time figuring out how to turn the computer on, or when mom calls and she's like, oh my God, did I call you or did you call me? Just perpetual confusion around technology. And I bought this new mic, which is awesome. Any of you that do podcasts or want to record, it's called the Shure MV7. And it's amazing. However, I also was keeping all of my software up to date, my laptop, and apparently you can update the mic firmware as well, which I just learned today. So I've spent the last month emailing my production team, and we've been trying to figure out why the mic would not fucking work. I have a backup one, which you guys have seen, that silver one, the Yeti, but this one was off. So we were using the Yeti below the screen, and y'all, it's just so funny to me. So apparently you can update your microphone firmware, and that's important to record. So I pulled a Gale. I thought you would find that entertaining. So I know this year is off to likely a really great start. I had such an awesome New Year's. It's actually New Year, isn't it? I had such a great New Year. Jake and I decided, although we were invited to a client of mine, her house party, who I absolutely love this client, and I've known her for the better part of a decade plus. She lives here in Atlanta. I was like, what feels actually really good to me is bringing in the new year sober and with intention. Because last year, and I think I shared this on a previous episode, Jake and I literally got off the plane from Chicago last year. We were in Michigan with his family for Christmas, and we were so sick. We got COVID, and as soon as we got home, it settled into our body, and we could not get off the couch for 2 weeks. This is so funny. And we're like, hey, remember that time? We actually slept in the guest room, bedroom for a brief period of time because our body ached so bad, and that mattress is slightly softer. So we always laugh. We're like, remember that time that we slept in the smaller bed? Because it's I think it's a queen or a full. We have a California king in our master. And, we opted to sleep there because of the softness of the mattress over the size of the mattress. We were just so sick. That was bad. Anyway, because we entered last year with what we felt was indicative of events to come and the unraveling of the year ahead of us, we were sick, we were tired, we were not healthy. It was the opposite. So this year we wanted to be healthy and energized and intentional. So we were sober, and we got into a new series, Yellowstone, not a new series to most people. We just really like to watch series that aren't new to everyone at that time, and so that we can also binge watch them. So we started watching Yellowstone, and I didn't drink. And then the next morning we woke up and we had a tearful-filled journal session. Actually, I can share some of those prompts with you guys. I journaled around money. And the two questions, actually Jake initiated this, the two questions we asked ourselves and journaled on and then chatted about over coffee that next morning on New Year's Day was, why do I chase money? Or I chase money because, you could say. And the thing I think I'm missing in the pursuit of money is. And so, I don't know, we must have had a 45-minute conversation as a result of just those two prompts that we both answered. And It was so healing. It was so beautiful. Both of us cried for different reasons. One would say something that really landed with the other, or I was able to reflect something to him, and vice versa. Or just, when you hit that truth tone where you're like, fuck, there that belief is, and that feels really real to me, even though it's my own limiting belief. It's my own programmed belief. And that's why I do this work. That's why I love teaching women how to, overcome their current circumstances or their perceived upper level limits. I love doing this work on myself. Everything that I do in my programs and my teachings, I do, I live, I embody. This is the work that infiltrates my daily life, Jake's and my daily life. We did other journal prompts. I forget what else I had written because I don't have my journal here with me, but those were the two that we had a really beautiful conversation about. So hopefully those help you. It was just such a different new year. We actually went to the gym. We closed the gym down. They started turning the lights out on us because we were there until closing. It was just such a refreshing, beautiful, grounded, peaceful New Year's. And I'm just so grateful for how this year has already started. So hopefully yours is off to a great start. I know that this is not the time most people struggle with inspiration, motivation, and visioning. But I do know that after the first 2 to 6 weeks, we tend to lose some of that momentum and some of that drive, and we disconnect from our North Star, our why, and the end goal come December 31, 2023, what it is we said we wanted to create, what it is that we actually want to manifest. And, for me, a lot of the work that I have done has also been around the undoing, right? This work is just as much about becoming as it is unbecoming. In the unbecoming, we lose who we think we are. We lose the identity we've become so connected to, only to then realize those things were never us to begin with. That was never really who we were. And so then it provides this beautiful opportunity into creating and becoming who we actually are, which is like a remembering process. We're not actually becoming anything other than ourselves. We're stripping away all the gunk and the crap that says otherwise. All the things that have added on. If you can just imagine yourself taking on backpacks and weighted plates and being handed all these things to hold and carry as we age and go through and journey life, that's exactly what happens with trauma and experiences and our beliefs that shape our world. But the beliefs that shape our world are only shaped on our lived perception, our individual, unique journey, and what we've gone through, our experiences. And so the cool thing is that we can rewrite those. We can overcome them. And although trauma can change the body and the brain, healing does the same thing. It helps us unbecome so we can then in fact become who we've always been. Maybe that sounds a little esoteric and a bit meta, but I think a lot of you actually do know what I'm talking about because you know that you have the power, or maybe you've seen glimpses and tastes of success, or maybe you've reached a certain level of success in a way that looks really different than the way you were raised. And you have become the pioneer to choose a different path, maybe than your generational family. So that work doesn't stop. There's no top to that mountain. The healing is never done, not because we're broken, but because if you're committed to a lifestyle of growth, you're consistently choosing to live on the edge of the next expansion, the next level, and the next thing that breaks you through that perceived upper level limit. So, going back to what I was talking about, I know that this time of year is not lacking in inspiration. So maybe this is a podcast episode you can come back to and reference when you feel like you've become disconnected from your why, or you've lost sight of your vision, and now you're just in the daily grind. So one of my favorite things, the best ways to do this, is to take a look at our daily patterns and behaviors and figure out a way that we can just shake them up and offer a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is exactly how it sounds. It's interrupting a pattern. And a pattern is something that is automatically happening, whether or not you're intending to do it. It's the thing that you just do, right? And so I want to offer 5 different ways that you can interrupt your daily patterns, because when I get into the daily grind of everyday life and the shiny, exciting goal setting kind of seems to wear off, as we have to stay close to this work. It's a daily practice. Breaking those automatic patterns that keep us comfortable and complacent, they really can settle in and take root. And in that place, we often find ourselves bored, uninspired, disenchanted with life and where we're at and how we're pursuing all of those things. So here are 5 ways that I'm going to offer you around interrupting daily patterns. These are things I do in my life, and these are things that I offer to clients to do in theirs. So the first one, and I will do this on my own, or Jake and I will often do this together, especially if we can find a lull in the day where we both are not on a call or in a meeting, which is going for a walk. That may sound super simple, and a lot of these profound practices are just very presencing. They're extremely simple, but the whole point is just to redirect energy. And so instead of sitting at my desk, which most of us are doing throughout the day, or we're just scrolling on our phone mindlessly, I will say to Jake, hey, you want to just go for a walk? Let's just do a couple loops around the neighborhood. And we'll just go randomly, spontaneously. The whole point is that it's spontaneous and it's random and we go. There's other times that it's really nourishing to have an evening or a morning practice, like a consistent ritual. That's not what I'm talking about here, though. These pattern interrupts are things that you can do any day of the week that are completely spontaneous. And the reason they interrupt the pattern is because they're spontaneous. So that's the important part of this. Okay, so daily walks are great because it's invigorating. You get to have vitamin D in the sun. Even if it's cloudy, you still get a vitamin D hit, dopamine, and connection. And so something on the walk that Jake and I will do where we don't want to talk about work because we're trying to just reset and redirect our energy away from work temporarily just to take a refresh. And a mentor taught me this is we will say, we will wander while we wonder. We will wander while we wonder. What that looks like is we will, without purpose, wander, just take walks till we feel complete with our loops. Our neighborhood is like on a cul-de-sac, so we can do a couple loops. And we will wonder simply by leading with curiosity and pointless questions to each other. So for example, while we are wandering, while we are walking, without any specific purpose in mind, no goal, we will ask the other one a question. So I might say to Jake, you know what I wonder? I wonder, what is your favorite fruit? I don't think I know. And I learned that his favorite fruit is raspberries. And I said to him, oh my God, how do we never have raspberries in the house? That's your favorite fruit. And I'm just now finding out this is your favorite fruit and we never fucking have raspberries in the house. This is crazy. So that's an example of how you can wander while you wonder, and you just take turns asking each other questions. It's fun, it's connection, it's light, and it's a really just easy way to refresh. Another one is to change the setting that you're working in. So I have 2 days a week where I try not to take calls. That's not always possible depending on the season I'm in. If I'm in a season of taking interviews and podcast features or speaking events, I will tend to use these flex days for those. However, Tuesdays are content creation day and Fridays are just a swing day. So it's off, or I can use it to fill, other calls that spill over into the week into Friday. I like to compartmentalize each of my days because then I can set the intention energetically. So client serving days are Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then Mondays are team building days and research and development. So anything that's forwarding with my team where I put my CEO hat on, CEO day, some people call it think time, brainstorming, visioning, all that's on Monday. Anyway, Tuesday and Friday are my flex days. And so because I don't have calls typically, it makes for a really easy transition for me to leave the home office if I'm not recording and go somewhere else and work. So sometimes I don't want to actually, this is such an introverted thing to say before I say this. I recognize that. Sometimes I don't want to talk to people. I just want to be around them. That might look like me putting headphones in and working at a coffee shop, or Jake and I going and, again, just being in the company of each other, but we are head down working, doing content creation, just in a different setting. I love this pattern interrupt. It's exciting to me for some reason to be in a different environment and not feel the pressure of needing to really converse with any other human being. So I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to be on. I can just show up at a coffee shop. Jake and I have gone to this little Italian deli that's super cute near us. We've had a bottle of wine, just, done some content creation then. It's just fun. We pick a random place. And there's a few that we rotate between. But again, whether or not you are corporate, most of us now, especially after like the 2020 era, where people have gone and are working still, they're still continuing to work remotely. Even if you go in your office like 3 days a week, you could still go somewhere completely different and go to a coffee shop on the other 2 days you don't have to go into your office. So change up your environment. You never know who you'll meet. Maybe those of you that are extroverted actually want to converse with people. You can do that too. It's really nice to be part of those types of environments. Also, you could join Roam or WeWork or one of those like communal workspaces. For a while, Jake and I actually had a membership to one of those offices as well. And that was, again, just a nice way to, you say, hi, hello, I'd like a cup of coffee, and you sit down, and you don't have to talk to anybody the entire time you're there. Or you can have a casual conversation with someone you've never met before that you find interesting, and who knows, maybe it might be a business opportunity. So that's a really fun, easy thing to do. So another thing is that I have to consciously think about this one, but this is number 3. I will do something on a weekday that I would normally do on a weekend. What I mean by that is, if typically I'm finding that I'm falling into the Monday through Friday grind of things where it's like, oh, it's a school night for the kids, or we don't normally go out during the week. That's typically, I would say, when we're in that grind, what we fall into. I'll say, what would I normally do on a Friday or Saturday? Would I go out to a fun dinner? Would we just go have a random cocktail or a martini out somewhere? Would we go try a different place and have some appetizers? Obviously, all of my examples are around food and eating out because I do love doing those things. I love food and I love eating out. So we'll pick a restaurant, or we will randomly celebrate something. We'll find something to celebrate. And so if it's a Wednesday night and it feels like we are just getting into the grind of things, we'll just say, hey, let's just go celebrate and have like a random drink and get some apps over at XYZ place. And I love that. I'm getting excited talking about it. I think that's fun. It's a different way to just, you again, interrupt the week, get dressed up, go out or not get dressed up, whatever. There's plenty of times I've gone out literally with no makeup, my Lulus, and we're sitting at, a bar at our favorite Italian restaurant having some apps and a glass of wine. That is my favorite thing to do. And to do it on a weekday because I can, so fun. So that's a really fun way to just get out and do something random during the week. Okay, number 4, play music and dance. Music for me is a love language. Music actually does create emotions, right? And so putting on music that inspires you or really sets the pace for what you're stepping into, and I'll give an example in a second, can change the emotion, because emotions are energy in motion. So now if you are able to consciously create that, put on music that moves you, something that you can't not dance to, a favorite upbeat song. So back when I was doing wellness and fitness coaching, I would tell and share with people that the 5-minute commitment would change everything for them. So let's say you're procrastinating going to the gym, or let's say you're just feeling kind of low vibe, low energy. Yes, let's honor our feelings. Yes, let's be with what is. And also, when you feel like you're all cried out and you've done all those things and you're ready to redirect and recharge the energy, what you can do is put on some good beats that make you move, right? So the 5-minute commitment I always told clients was just tell yourself, if after 5 minutes of being at the gym, or if after 5 minutes of listening to this like dance music, you still don't want to do the next thing, or you still don't want to work out, give yourself permission to not do it. And by the time the 5 minutes is over, that's all you actually really needed to either get to the gym or start the project or shift your mood. So you always have an opportunity to change the emotion, which is changing your energy in motion. And that's why I love using movement and so much of the embodiment work and dance in what I teach as well with somatic success. So that's a really fun way to do that. Another way I've used music to motivate me is I love listening to a guy named Jordan Kritz. I think he's a Nashville guy. I met him through one of Jake's, I didn't meet him personally, but I came across his name through a men's group that Jake was part of. And I love his music because it's instrumental. But when I listen to instrumental, either classical type of music that has this kind of, it just has like a very inspirational kind of energy to it, I write. It stimulates me creatively. And I love writing to that kind of music because I don't get lost in the words. I don't sit and start singing it. I just feel it, and I'm able to write and create with my body. And I love that. So for me, that's something that triggers a different sequence in my body, a different imprint, which is now creative stimulation. So that's how you can use music to shift your mood and really dictate different energy and motion, different emotions. And then the last one is, and this is going to sound so fucking basic, bitch. It's why I love it. Listen. Y'all are listening to my podcast and you likely are drawn to me because I swear and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm direct and punchy. I'm a little bit fiery, and you are a damn queen. That is why you are here. So eat like the queen that you are. Eat on a real plate at a real table at all meals. I have to remind myself of this too, okay? It's so easy to sit in front of our computer and graze throughout the day and have a snack, or not make it a priority to stop and check in with our body and meet our basic needs. So this is kind of like two things in one. You're going to do an awareness check. Set a timer or an alarm that goes off every 2 to 3 hours on your phone, and you're going to do an awareness check-in. The awareness check-in is going to have you ask yourself a couple questions. So again, we're interrupting the pattern. You're in workflow, but you have this recurring timer going off. You don't have to do this forever. It's just a fun practice, again, to break yourself out of any stagnant energy. So the questions you're going to ask yourself whenever this alarm goes off. Am I hungry? Check in with your body. Am I thirsty? Check in with your body. Do I need to go to the bathroom? Listen, I know that sounds like common sense. You would be so surprised by how many women are like, oh my God, you're so right. I have had to go to the bathroom for the last hour and I've just been ignoring my body. Like, the amount of times that we ignore these little things. Come on, guys. We are queens. We get to act like it. So, do I need to use the bathroom is one, right? Do I have to pee? Go pee. Let me stand up and stretch. Just stand up. Move your body. Twist it, and create new energy and motion. And then, is there anything else in this moment I need? Does my body need anything else? That's all you're going to ask yourself, is those few questions around this awareness check-in. But when you ask yourself, am I hungry? And you haven't eaten for like 6 hours, like, you got to eat. We got to eat. It's time to love on your body, to nourish it, and to sit down at a damn table with a real plate and eat your meal, right? Don't eat 4 almonds and then survive the rest of the day. And then 8 hours later, the only meal you're eating is dinner. Or you're eating leftovers off your kid's plate. Like, no, we get to do better than that. I'm going to invite you into a higher level of being. Okay, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, 2 snacks, 1 in between each of those meals. Sit down at a table. Get away from your desk and eat off a real plate. Even if you got something to go for lunch, pour your salad onto a plate, put it in a bowl, whatever. I don't care. Sit at a fucking table and eat like the queen that you are. It's just a really beautiful practice to get present and to honor yourself and your time in a way that says, I deserve my full own attention. So these might seem really simple, but I'm going to recap them, all 5, okay? Go for a walk is number 1, where you can wander and wonder. Number 2, change the environment you're working in remotely. Number 3, do something you would normally do on a weekend on a weekday. Number 4, play music to redirect energy and motion, whether it be to move, access joy, go work out, creatively stimulate, write, whatever. And number 5, do an awareness check-in with your body. Okay? So those are the 5. And bonus, one practice you can do that's not necessarily like a daily pattern interrupt, but a major pattern interrupt. Go on a retreat and get yourself out of your regular environment and into an elevated environment where you don't know anybody, but you know the women in that room are women you need to know, not because of what you can get from them, not because of networking opportunities, but because of why you are there, aligned to the purpose and the right women show up. We are enrolling for Unmade, which is a retreat, which is basically a wellness retreat meets leadership transformational retreat here in Atlanta. Apply for that if that's a room that you want to be in. Again, not for the networking opportunity, because I don't give a fuck, like, quote unquote, who's in the room and what titles they have, although I do attract a very high caliber woman, that this is for the 1% woman who already identifies with that criteria, right? She's already successful, but she doesn't lead with that as her only thing. And show up in these spaces and rooms because of why you are there, because you're dedicated to growth, because you're committed to personal development, because you want to take a deeper dive into somatic work and spirituality, because you want to have an unplugged experience so that you can play life and business at a bigger fucking level. That's what Unmade is. That's who it attracts. So if you really want to go for a major pattern interrupt, book a retreat. Get yourself out of your normal environment and get into one that is going to lean into the discomfort and the very edges that have kept you at your current upper level limit. So that you can find that information on the website. We'll put the link into the notes. But anyway, I hope this episode was super useful, a little bit longer than usual today. And you can refer back to this if at any point in time you disconnect from your why or you feel like you've lost sight of your vision. Hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you here on the next episode.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithkeri.com and we'll see you inside.